One of the most interesting architectural wonders within easy driving distance of Reno, Nevada is this. The main clubhouse here at the Nakoma Golf Resort in Plumas County, California, is the design of Frank Lloyd Wright, perhaps one of the most famous American architects and one of my favorite artists. In this video, we're going to take a closer look at this building, which really is a work of art in itself, and how it came to be constructed here in rural Northern California, here on the Reno You Know. The Nakoma Resort is located about halfway between Gray Eagle and Portola, California, north of Lake Tahoe and about an hour and change from Reno. Its 1,280 acres sports a championship 18-hole golf course, which they affectionately call the Dragon. The resort is adjacent to the Plumas National Forest, a huge area set aside by President Theodore Roosevelt in 1905 that is roughly comparable in size to somewhere between Rhode Island and Delaware. The county and the forest take the name of Plumas from the Feather River that flows through the area. Plumas means feather in Spanish, and a Spanish explorer named Luis Arguello, who was in the area in 1820, found feathers floating in the river, so he named it Rio de las Plumas. I thought I'd do this video in the off season so it wouldn't be so crowded. So here we are in late November after the close of golf season. So just how did this building, designed by America's preeminent architect, get constructed in this location? Back in 1923, a new golf course opened in Madison, Wisconsin called the Nakoma Golf Club, and this club endures to this day. In that year, 102 years ago from the date of this filming, Frank Lloyd Wright himself drew up plans for a grand centerpiece of that golf club. For whatever reason, almost certainly financial, that 24,000 square foot clubhouse was never built. Not all of Wright's designs were actually built, so these plans were shelved along with others and almost forgotten. Smash cut to the late 1990s when a serial entrepreneur worth hundreds of millions of dollars named Daryl Garner, who had made his fortune over 40 businesses spread out across 4 continents in his career, he was looking for a place to semi-retire and build a home. And he found these 1,280 acres here, and he envisioned a master-planned community involving many homes and a golf course. Daryl and his then-wife Peggy were longtime fans of architecture and were admirers of Frank Lloyd Wright, so they approached Taliesin Associated Architects to help them design their plan. Taliesin Associated Architects was founded by former protégés of Wright after Wright's death in 1959 to carry on his vision. And what a vision it was! Frank Lloyd Wright studied civil engineering at the University of Wisconsin and opened his first architectural practice in Oak Park, Illinois in 1893. Wright believed in creating designs that would create a harmony between nature and humankind, and was an important figure in several architectural styles, including the Prairie School movement, which came out of the American arts and crafts movement of the early 20th century. Wright himself was a sometimes flamboyant character who was the best in the business, and he knew it. Over 70 years, Wright designed over 1,000 structures, and approximately 400 of those were actually built, and about 300 of them survive today. Some of his most famous buildings are the Edgar Kaufman House, known as Falling Water, in Mill Run, Pennsylvania, built in 1935, the Solomon Guggenheim Museum in New York City, commissioned in 1943 and opened in 1959, the S.C. Johnson & Son Headquarters Building in Racine, Wisconsin, built in 1936, the Marin County Civic Center across the Golden Gate Bridge north of San Francisco from 1957, and Taliesin West, Wright's Winter Retreat in Scottsdale, Arizona, founded in 1937. In 1991, the American Institute of Architects named him the greatest American architect of all time. So the Garners purchased the plans for this building from Taliesin, and they did not specify how much they paid, although they did say that it was a lot for these blueprints that were completed 77 years prior in 1923. And some modifications did need to be made in order to accommodate modern building codes, and some space did need to be reallocated, such as moving locker rooms in the original design to a lower level so they could have room for the dining room and the pro shop. All in all, it took 6 years to adapt the original plans, get the construction permits, and complete construction. The construction took 16 months and cost $13 million. The property was named Nakoma Resort in tribute to the original intended location of the building at the Nakoma Golf Club in Wisconsin. However, Taliesin did attempt to have the building constructed once before. It was presented in 1967 for another development in Wisconsin that also did not come to pass. The word Nakoma means "I do as I promise" from the Chippewa Indians. And at the time, Wright thought the building should honor Native American tribes. The spires on the top of the building were designed to resemble teepees, and the grand four-sided stone fireplace located in the center of the dining room under the largest teepee represents a ceremonial campfire burning in the center. Many other design elements around the building pay homage to the American Indian. In 1999, when construction started, the Garners realized that most of the workers need to be locally sourced due to the rural nature of the area. And many of these workers didn't have the experience in creating a structure to Wright's exacting standards. But the crew learned by doing, and they also had to track down old tools from the 1920s. Many, if not most, of the angles in this building are not 45 or 90 degrees. So most of this building had to be done by hand, and they needed those old tools to create the cuts. Most of the stonework is laid in a sedimentary style, and Mr. Wright probably would have liked to have the stones sourced right at the site, but that would have taken years to get the permits and to extract them. So a similar rose-colored stone was located in Mexico, and these were brought up to the job site. 300 truckloads full. The project manager for Taliesin Architects was named Arnold Roy. Arnold Roy joined Taliesin in 1952 and studied directly under Mr. Wright. He stated that while some mods had to be made for building codes and the repurposing of a few spaces, this was the building that Mr. Wright had intended. Mr. Roy just passed away in 2024. The interior design was coordinated by another longtime Taliesin architect that had also worked under Frank Lloyd Wright, named John Rattenbury, and Mr. Rattenbury passed away in 2021. The building formally opened in 2001, 42 years after the architect's death. This was all later certified as a genuine Wright structure by the Frank Lloyd Wright Foundation. This property also went through a rough patch. In 2004, the Garners stopped making payments on their loans, and investors were not able to be lined up, so the property ended up in bankruptcy. And then in 2006, it went to auction. After 6 years in bankruptcy, the property was finally purchased by a new group of investors in 2010, and it has been in operation ever since. In researching this episode, I did a Google search for Daryl Garner and found out that he had an interesting story after he sold the property. While he was extremely successful financially, he was in the top 100 of the top 1% in terms of wealth in the U.S. He realized that he was unhappy and unfulfilled and somehow disconnected from his fellow man and society. So Daryl Garner decided on a complete transformation, physically and spiritually, and he decided to get off the merry-go-round. He gave away his fortune, and he became a social activist in the New Mexico desert. All right, thanks for hanging out with me on this episode. I really hope you enjoy it. We are finishing off here at the Brewing Lair near Blairsden and near Gray Eagle, California. This is a great little brewery in the woods. You go order in that building behind me, and you come out here and hang out and enjoy a craft beer and the beautiful surroundings. And today I'm finishing up with a BLT, a Brewing Lair Triple, a Belgian ale, coming in at 8.8%. So looking forward to a bigger beer like this on a pretty chilly fall afternoon. Wasn't that wonderful to see an old Frank Lloyd Wright building? That's one of the things about the great artists. Their work just lives on way beyond their lifetime. Frank Lloyd Wright never saw 1960. He passed away in 1959, and here's guys in the year 2000 building his plans. I think that's really remarkable. And I hope one day myself I get to see on my bucket list Falling Water in Pennsylvania, which I consider at least my favorite work of his. I'll see it one day. It was built in 1935, and from the photographs I've seen, it's pretty amazing. So hopefully I'll make it out there one day. So I'm off to work on my next episode. As Harold S. Smith Sr. of Harold's Club always said, I'm with you. Cheers.